Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sci-Fi Guy. Will Stape was kind enough to ask me, Adam Feuerberg, to do a special segment where I go over my top 10 original series Star Trek episodes. I just randomly decided to draw a list up and share it with my friends, and I thought, I think Will would appreciate this. And of course, as soon as I sent it to him, he asked me to record something for his show. And of course, I am more than happy to oblige. I'm always willing to talk Star Trek, especially with Will, and especially with all of you, his lovely listeners. Okay, so I'm going to start just going from 10 to 1. Star Trek Original Series. My 10th favorite episode is Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, part of the third season. And I know that the third season of the original series is not looked at as the finest. I think at this point, Gene Roddenberry had moved on, and there was a sort of an appreciation that the Star Trek had become a monster of the week show. And I felt like this episode in particular really, if that's how you felt about the third season of Star Trek, you watch this episode, and it is not like that at all. This is one of the most thought-provoking episodes. Clearly, it's about racism. It's, the premise is that there are two kinds of people who live on this particular planet. One side is painted black, the other side is painted white, and it decides on which side the color is on as to which group you're in. Are you part of the majority or part of the marginalized and oppressed minority? And just, unbelievable episode, really highlights just a lot of, horrible sides of human nature. And, it's one of those kinds of times when the crew has to reflect on how, at one point, we treated each other like this on this planet, which we still do now. It's still the present. But Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, my 10th favorite Star Trek Original Series episode, guest starring Lou Antonio, and of course the one and only Frank Gorshin of the Riddler fame from the Batman animated show, which I argue is the other best show of the 1960s. You have dramas of Star Trek, and a sitcom you have Batman. Okay, moving on. Number 9 is another third season episode which defies the stereotype of the monster of the week, the Enterprise Incident, which is the second episode of the third season. And I love this episode so much because there's just so much subterfuge involved. It's the first episode, at least I think it's the first episode, where the characters are made to look like they're on the alien planet. I'm probably mistaken, but I just remember that shot of Scotty looking at Captain Kirk as Captain Kirk looks like a Romulan. And it really highlights kind of that way that Star Trek was going to go with protecting people's identity, or to prevent contamination when they're studying a species that hasn't reached warp yet. But yeah, the Enterprise Incident, it's all great. They end up stealing a cloaking device. Spock woos the Romulan commander, and it's just a wonderful episode. I love it. It's great. It's a little bit of spy game, a little bit of honeypotting. It's got it very much appropriate for the era about the time that James Bond had come out. This was very much a spying episode, and I love it. Enterprise Incident number 9. Okay, number 8 on my list is a season 2 episode, The Doomsday Machine. This is one of those episodes that I always felt like is really, really made by the music. And I know that Star Trek has a theme to it where a lot of the music is used over and over again. But the music put to the Doomsday Machine itself, how it just slowly builds up and builds up. It's so good. The music makes it really makes it stand out for me. And number 8, The Doomsday Machine. Check it out. For those of you who don't know, the premise is that this gigantic machine's floating in space and just eating planets and destroying ships. And it's just the music. The music makes this episode for me. Number 8, Doomsday Machine. Okay. Number 7 on my list is an absolute classic. It is Arena from the first season. Arena is it's where we first meet the Gorn. I know the Gorn's on top of mind for everybody because they made a triumphant return this season. But one of Strange New Worlds. But again, the smart thing about Strange New Worlds is we never actually see the Gorn. The Gorn apparently is off screen until this particular episode. when Captain Kirk finally meets him and he outsmarts him and could have killed him and chooses not to, because while the Federation apparently was colonizing a Gorn planet, another more powerful species decided to take the two skirmishing species, the captains of the skirmishing species. So you have the Gorn and the captain of the Gorn, and you have Captain Kirk facing off one-on-one to see who is the more dominant race. And Captain Kirk refuses to take the Gorn's life at the end, which is just a wonderful moment. And it really almost like a little precursor to reality television almost, where like the species just want to see how they'll react, you know? You put two people and they stop being polite and they start getting real. Only in Arena. Our number 7 episode for TOS. Okay, we're getting up there. Number 6 is a second season episode called The Trouble with Tribbles. I remember watching this episode as part of a marathon of original series episodes when I first got into it when I was a kid. And this is straight comedy. I love it. It's great. It's so funny. But there's also like an element of like things could go really sideways, really badly, because it's about a spying Klingon who plants a bomb. And I love this episode because they end up bringing it back in Deep Space Nine, as like they kind of like key in the actors into the old series, and they even have moments where they get to meet, you know, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. And of course you have the animated episode More Tribbles. I think the DS9 is Trials and Tribulations. But yeah, this is one of the all-time great episodes, and just the furry tribbles and the sounds they make are adorable. But again, the comedy is sort of thrown off by the fact that there's a plot to bomb a station and kill a whole species of cute little creatures. And it's just the beauty of Star Trek right there. They kind of wrap up so many genres all at one time. I love Trouble with Tribbles. If you want to just have a good time, check it out. It's very funny. All right. Number 5. Here we go. These are the top 5 episodes, my personal top 5 episodes of Star Trek. Number 5 is The City on the Edge of Forever. Not to be confused with the South Park episode called The City on the Edge of Forever, which is just a dream episode. This one is obviously an all-time classic, as they all are. I think I've said that about all of them so far. But yeah, some consider this to be the all-time best episode, and it's my number 5. So good. It's a little bit of a time travel episode. It's a little bit of a McCoy goes crazy episode. It's got so much going on here, and the very premise that saving a woman's life will send the world into a dark, dark future, and you have to let somebody die, is just the most gut-wrenching premise ever. And I know there's all kinds of stories. Apparently, it was written by Harlan Ellison, at least the first draft was. It got changed. He hated how much it got changed. He always hated it. Ellison didn't exactly have a reputation for being easy to work with either, so none of that's a real shock. But it won so many awards. How many awards did it win for? It won a Writers Guild episode, a Writers Guild for a TV episode, and it won a Hugo Award for TV. And I would love to win awards for things I hate. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, to be talented enough to know that something is less than what you gave and you still win awards. Come on. That's talent right there. All right, number 5, City on the Edge of Forever. Okay, number 4 on my all-time Star Trek list is Amok Time, the second season premiere. It is the episode where we learn about Pon farr. We love Pon farr, and we love Mr. Spock, and this is where we meet T'Pring, who, again, has a huge part on the Strange New World show this first season, but in second season, we meet T'Pring for the first time, and we learn about Pon farr and how Spock needs to mate or he could die, and it's just so much going on. I love learning about Vulcan. I think this is the first time we get to see Vulcan on the show. We get to see the Vulcan mating ritual. We get to see Captain Kirk have a cut in across his chest. Classic Kirk right there. I love it, and this is just a great episode. Amok Time, that music. Again, I chose some episodes strictly because of the music, and this is absolutely one of them. Of course, parody by Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick in the medieval time scene in The Cable Guy. If you've never seen that, check it out. It is spot on. I think shot for shot almost. Kirk and Spock's fight. Just classic stuff here. Amok Time is my number 4 favorite episode. Okay, we're getting up there. My number 3 all-time Star Trek original series episode is Space Seed. 22nd episode of the first season. Of course, this is the Khan episode where we learn about Khan Noonien Singh and the eugenics wars. And this sets up all kinds of classic stuff with Kirk and Khan and, of course, the Wrath of Khan movie. All starts here. It's all fantastic. And, God, it's just... Ricardo Montalban is such a good actor. He is so good that he is just able to exude this character, and to the point where, I know that they made Star Trek Into Darkness, which we can talk about another time, but no actor could really ever do Ricardo Montalban. I don't know if Cumberbatch was the right choice to begin with. That's a discussion for another day. But, Ricardo Montalban is Khan. There's no way around it. And, even when you see him on Fantasy Island or maybe one of his other shows, no, he's Khan. He'll always be Khan. And that's why this episode is so special. The character really was bigger than the episode, and so big he was bigger than the movie. Khan, all about Spacey, my number 3. Okay, my number 2 all-time favorite Star Trek original series episode is Balance of Terror. This is the last of the music-heavy episodes where I associate the score of this episode so strongly with this episode, because it's almost like the music is developed the way, and it builds up the way that not only the weapon, but even the cloaking and decloaking Romulan ship. For those of you who don't know, Balance of Terror is very much an underwater submarine style, hunting style episode. There's just so much space combat and trying to keep radio silent, and there's just it's so good. Not too many episodes explore combat in the original series, and this one very much does. And it's just absolutely brilliant. The number of genres that Star Trek played with back in the day, from comedy to strong drama to almost horror to super medically heavy episodes. This one was just straight combat, and it's just an absolute classic. Even if you're not a Star Trek fan, if you're a fan of military combat style entertainment, check out Balance of Terror, my number 2 all-time favorite Star Trek original series episode. And closing us out, ladies and gentlemen, is my number 1 Star Trek original series episode, Mirror, Mirror, the 4th episode of the 2nd season. This, of course, is the famous parallel universe episode. You could say that this is the beginning of the Star Trek multiverse, where we actually learn about other dimensions where the characters might exist, but they're completely different. And this is about an evil parallel universe where Spock has a beard, so much so that Kirk yells out, "Where's your beard?" The evil Kirk yells out. That's how important that beard was. It was a true indication that you were in a wrong place. Mr. Spock does not have facial hair unless he's purely evil. And this is just another absolute classic, guys. If you want to check out just what Star Trek is all about, check out Mirror, Mirror, because the opposite universe is such a display of how bad humanity can be, that it really does make the people who travel into that universe not take that wonderful, no more a scarcity kind of lifestyle for granted. You just don't. You can't. Not after experiencing that, where people die regularly because people want more power. I couldn't imagine living in a universe like that. I know we kind of do now, and that's what makes me yearn so much for the actual Star Trek universe that all of my episodes espouse to be. Mirror, Mirror is my number 1 all-time favorite Star Trek original series episode. But this is my list, guys, and I love doing it, and I love talking to all of you. And thank you so much, Will Stape, for having me on your show. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye. I realize now that I signed off without giving you a proper goodbye. My name is Adam Feuerberg. You can find me on all socials at Adam Feuerberg. That's ADAMFEUERBERG. Look me up. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I do stand-up comedy all the time. If you're in San Diego this weekend, I'm performing at the Aztec Brewery. And thanks so much, Will, for having me on the show. And enjoy, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your top 10 all-time Star Trek original series episodes are. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.